we are going to multiply and divide real numbers. So for today's target, it is I can multiply and divide real numbers. Our first definition is a reciprocal, and what a reciprocal is it's actually two things. It's two numbers are reciprocals if their product equals 1. Or another way you could say it is it's your fraction flipped. So for instance, for example, if you have 1/2, the reciprocal equals 2/1 or just 2. If you have 3/4, the reciprocal is 4/3. And if you look, 1/2 times 2/1, 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2/2, which is just 1. So when you're multiplying and dividing, and you have two numbers that have the same sign, your answer is always positive. Your answer is always positive. And I bet you can guess the second part. When they are different signs, your answer is always negative. Always, always, always negative. And that's for multiplication and division. So what that would look like is if you have a positive times a positive, your answer is going to be positive. If you have a negative times a negative, notice I put my multiplication in parentheses, your answer is going to be a positive. But if you have a positive times a negative, your answer is negative. If you have a negative times a positive, your answer is negative. They've got those negative. If there's only one negative attitude in there, it becomes real negative. If you have a positive divided by a negative, same thing, you get a negative. If you have a negative divided by a positive, you get a negative. So let's go ahead and let's do some. What I always do is I look at my answers and I say, well, is my answer going to be positive or negative? I have a positive times a negative, my answer is going to be negative. A negative divided by a negative, I get a positive. For number 3, 3x for x equals negative 2/3. This word for, another word for is when. So you plug this in for x. So you get negative 3 times negative 2/3. A negative times a negative, our answer is going to be a positive. For number 4, a negative divided by a negative, my answer is going to be positive. A negative or a positive divided by a negative is a negative. Negative divided by a positive is a positive. Oh, sorry, is a negative. 7, 8, and 9 we'll get to in a minute. So first, let's do our multiplication of fractions. Remember, negative 10 is 10/1. Now what I'm going to do is some cross simplification. 1 and 1, well, they're pretty good. 2 and negative 10, they're both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So now we multiply across the top. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. 1 times 1 is 1. So our answer is just plain old negative 5, and we circle it. Number 2, negative 48 divided by negative 12, we know is a positive, or divided by negative 4 is a positive 12. Number 3, again, it's negative 3/1, and I can do some cross simplification. Negative 3 and the 3 are both divisible by 3. Negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. Keep your negative. 3 divided by 3 is 1. We know our answer is going to be positive. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2/1, which is just plain old 2. Now remember, with your division, 3 little words, keep it, switch it, flip it. So I'm going to keep it this, my negative 1/2, switch it to multiplication, and flip it to negative 6/5. know my answer is going to be positive, and I see some cross simplification. 2 and the 6. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 5 is 5, and my answer is positive. Before I can do keep, switch, flip here, I need to make this improper. And remember, you start with the 3. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So we get 8 ninths divided by negative 8 thirds. Now I can do keep, switch, flip, and I do 8 ninths times negative 3 over 8. My 8s can cross simplify. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. And I know my answer is going to be negative. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. 3 times 1 is just 3. So negative 1/3. I want you to try number 6 on your own. You should get for your answer for number 6, negative 1/2. Now, when you're dividing by 0, I want to show you something. If I have 8 divided by 4, we all know that that equals 2. Well, if I just switch around some signs, I could say that 8 equals 4 times 2, right? Same thing, if I do 12 divided by 3, I get 4. So let's switch it around. The 12 really equals 3 times 4 because division is just the inverse of multiplication. So if I have this, 0 divided by 7 equals 0, let's see if the reverse works. It should, that 0 equals 7 times 0. That works. So when I have the 0 on the left, it equals 0. But let's see what happens if it's on the right. If I have 7 divided by 0 equals 0, well, is it true that 7 equals 0 times 0? No! So if you have it on the right, you can't do that. It's undefined. So a couple rules with 0. Let's write them down. If it's on the numerator of a fraction or on the left, it's 0. When it's in the denominator or on the right, it's undefined. So now number 7 is on the right. Okay, it's undefined, can't do it. Number 8, it's on the top. Oh, that equals 0. It's on the bottom. It's like sitting on nothing. 12 literally is sitting on nothing. Can't do that. So it's undefined. Okay. Let's extend this to the real world. If the speed of a hot air balloon is 3 3/4 miles per hour and it travels in a straight line for 1 1/3 hours, how many miles away from liftoff will it be? So let's think about it. Let's think about it if it wasn't fractions. If it's 3 miles per hour and it travels for 2 hours, oh, I would have multiplied. Well, then guess what? We're going to multiply as well. So we'll do 3 3/4 times 1 1/3, but we need to make them both improper. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 3 is, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 3 is 15 over 4 times 3 times 1 is 3 times, or plus 1 is 4/3. Now, I don't know about you, I see lots of cross simplification. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 15 and 3 are both divisible by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. So 5 over 1 is 5 miles. I want you to try number 11 on your own, hit pause, and then I will go over your final answer. Okay, your final answer should be that you multiplied 5.25 times 1.5, and I always do my multiplication. If you have a number in parentheses and another number in there, that's multiplication. And you got 7.875 miles away. If you have no label, it's minus 1/2. So make sure that you do label everything. And last but not least, let's challenge ourselves. Why is 0 over 0 undefined? It's because you have 0 in the denominator. Essentially, can you split 0 into 0 ways? It's just kind of weird, doesn't really make sense. All right, so now you have your 1-3 note.